Success is scary. Let's talk about it. What's up, y'all? My name is Elia. I'm a mindset coach. I talk candidly about my journey, as well as share tips to encourage growth and healing and uplift anyone who may struggle with feeling seen. So, I'm sure we've all heard of or in some way are familiar with the fear of failure. I'm sure we've been in situations where we may have wanted to achieve something or may have been challenged to achieve something and been terrified of failing. It happens. Something that I feel that maybe we don't talk about quite as often though is the fear of success, the fear of actually getting what you want or what you're working toward. And that fear can be based in a range of things that really depends on who you are and what you're doing. But it can look like a few things. Success comes with increased responsibility. You have to give more to get more. You got to do more to achieve more. And sometimes that responsibility in and of itself is terrifying. So people might be afraid of that responsibility. You might find yourself afraid of being able to actually maintain or further that success once you actually achieve that goal or get what you're working toward. Sometimes it's just the fear of unknown. Success comes with new challenges. Again, it's going to require more of you, and you don't really know what that is until you're faced with a situation where you actually have to give it or learn something new or do something different. And that's scary. Sometimes people are afraid of judgment or envy that might come about as a result of their success. And that can impact relationships and really just kind of switch up or change a lot of things that were previously cemented or comfortable before the success was really attained. And that's all scary. And this can manifest in a range of negative or self defeating behaviors if left unchecked. It can look like self doubt, it can look like negative self talk and some self esteem challenges. It can look like procrastination or just outright self sabotage. It can look like perfectionism, which is another self defeating behavior. And it can even look like downplaying your own success once you actually achieve something or reach a goal, all of which really just harms you and kind of makes it harder to actually achieve that success or motivate yourself to achieve that success. And as always, my goal here is to humanize this. So I want to share a little bit about what this has looked like for me in hopes that me sharing that actually helps somebody on their journey. So for me, and I've shared this in some other videos, for a long time, I was afraid to really show up as my full self or really lean into my gifts. And that fear was largely rooted in a fear of disappointing others and this feeling that I had to be perfect or had to do something perfectly to really be deserving or whatever the case may be. That showed up in my life over the course of years. And I really held myself back as a result of that. I put so much pressure on myself to be perfect and to get things right all the time where when I didn't feel like I was actually getting something right or I didn't feel like it was spot on, I maybe just didn't do it or shied away from it or procrastinated or avoided it or otherwise just kind of blocked myself in the process of actually reaching that success or that goal. And I would tell myself, or I would think about it, I'm like, well, what if I actually achieve this? What if I can't sustain this? And what if I'm a one hit wonder? Or what about that disappointment? What about that embarrassment? Just what if, what if, what if, what if? All these negative what ifs that would go through my head. And after a while, I would just talk myself out of doing stuff. And I would sit still in the same space I was and feel frustrated because I obviously wanted to achieve certain things and I wanted to push for certain things. But at the same time, I was afraid of actually reaching those goals and achieving that success because then that would mean I would have to also level up to reach that new level. And that was just a very uncomfortable thought, a very uncomfortable prospect. So I watched a lot of opportunities pass me by. I spent a lot of years frustrated, busy, but not productive. And it all came to a point where I just really had to reconcile that and be like, look, I want these things. I deserve these things. I can achieve and do these things. So I'm just going to go for it. And whatever that journey looks like is whatever it looks like. And been a long journey, and it's not an ongoing thing. There's no real one point you get and you're just automatically successful, but it's a journey of continuous and constant improvement. So, as always, I want to share a few tips that have helped me on my journey and continue to help me on my journey in hopes that they'll help you. The first tip is that it's really important to actually define your definition or your idea of success. What are you working toward? What is all of this for? What are you shooting for? What are you trying to achieve? What are you trying to build? What's the point of all of this? If you don't have an idea of why you're doing something, why you're putting energy into something, why you're really striving and working so hard, it's kind of hard to ever feel fulfilled by it because you don't really know where you're trying to go. So it's really important to have a clear idea of what that success looks like for you and what will make you feel fulfilled, accomplished, effective, productive, whatever that may be. It's also really important to actually explore what the worst case scenarios that your brain is going to throw at you, what are those? You have to dive into all of that anxiety and all of that negative self-talk and the desire or the urge to self-sabotage through these negative stories that you may tell yourself, and really pick them apart. What is the worst case scenario? What can actually go wrong if somebody says yes on a sales call? What can go wrong if you get that promotion? What is the worst case scenario? And by examining that, what I feel you'll often find is that a lot of that is just hot air that you're telling yourself because there's something on the other end of your effort that's unknown or unfamiliar, which automatically makes it scary. So your brain is like, whoa, 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 don't do that. But that doesn't mean it's bad to actually do it. Third, it's really important once you actually have an idea or have a sense of what that worst case scenario is, or have an idea of what those stories you're telling yourself are. It's important to actually challenge those stories, challenge those thoughts, challenge those narratives with evidence of you accomplishing things before that you were afraid to do, or otherwise just showing yourself that you can do these things and that you are worthy of the things that you want. And all of that isn't just because it's a pipe dream, it's because you have the skills, you have the aptitude, you have the ability, and you have the opportunity. So put it all together and remind yourself that you can. Above all else, you can. And after that, it's important to really break down the goals or break down that success into smaller chunks, smaller bits, so you can achieve smaller goals along the way that you can then celebrate. Because when we have these really big goals, it's great. Don't get me wrong, I have goals where I'm just like, I have no idea how I'm going to do this. And over time, I get there, right? So that's great. But when we have these really big goals and we don't put anything in between us and that grand goal that we can actually achieve or attain, it makes it very hard to feel like we're getting anywhere. So that's why it's important to break down those goals, break down that success into smaller pieces, smaller chunks, and more attainable things, and then celebrate that along the way. So you're telling yourself, hey, I can do this, and here's me doing it along the way. Here's the smaller victories on the path to the grand victory. That's really important. And then after that, or alongside that, it's really important to embrace change. So, success, again, it's going to require a lot of you, and it's going to require new and different things of you. All of that is unknown, all of that is uncomfortable, and all of that is scary. But if you run from the change, you're never going to get what you want. And the thing with change, or the thing with success, is that sure, you gain stuff, but you're also going to lose stuff in the process. You're going to lose parts of your past identity. You're going to lose past relationships. You're going to have to ditch past behaviors and habits. So, again, there's a lot to gain, but you also have to be willing to look at it as more than just gain or just loss. It's all part of the journey to success and growing and developing. So you got to embrace that change, even though it's really uncomfortable and really unknown and really scary. So I hope those tips do help you on your journey. And as always, I want to leave you with one reflective question. And today's question is, what fears do you have to face to get what you want? Think about it.